Welcome to the Jack Low audio experience, and today joining me is Lucy. How are you doing, Lucy?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing great. So, I like to dive deep into your world. So, can you share with us, like, what is in your world right now, what you're about, and probably tell us, who are you, what's your name, and how old are you? Yeah.
Okay, let's see what's in my world. Okay, so my name is Lucy.
Mm,
I am in my internship year for clinical psychology. I will graduate this May. Whoop whoop. Um,
awesome.
so that yeah, that's a part of a little bit about me that what I'm going through right now. But my world is me and my children,
Mm,
and I'm currently engaged. So that's a little bit of my background.
mm,
And I currently serve individuals who have developmental disabilities and intellectual disabilities. So that's the population that I currently serve Monday through Friday.
right.
Yeah.
So, what about during your weekends? Yeah. What do you do during the weekends?
So my weekends,
Mm,
I usually like to spend time with family, kind of like do that
awesome.
self-care. Yeah, kind of dig deep with that. Think about, the mind, the body, and the soul. Like, what do I need to do to kind of feed it? But I kind of do that throughout the whole week, Monday through Sunday. I
Right.
start my day waking up at 4:30 in the morning, and
Wow.
then wake up at 4:30, meditate, you know, um,
Mm,
pray, and start prepping for my day. It all starts in the morning.
right.
That, yes.
Awesome. So it's all about like a self-care, that kind of a stuff, and with spending time with your family during the weekends. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's I live by a few principles. You got to take care of your mind, body, soul, and you got to be disciplined in order to reach your goals.
Definitely.
So, yeah. So I practice those on a daily. And on the weekends,
Mm,
I focus on replenishing, all those aspects to make sure that I am fully equipped throughout the whole week so I could give it my all.
right.
Yeah.
Awesome. So, like, can you walk us through like your Mondays to your Fridays, like the things you actually kind of do? What's the role in it, and probably run us through where the all these things that came from, like what make you started all these things? Yeah.
Okay. So
Mm,
my Monday through Friday, um, I work at a developmental center that I help individuals with intellectual disabilities and developmental disabilities. I start my day at 4:30 in the morning, meditate, I
mm,
pray, I have my cup of coffee, I
mm,
read, and then I get ready for the day. And I provide therapy for those individuals that need help. I create behavior plans, and I also meet with the clients' teams to kind of better help assist them. So
mm,
I'm working hard and I'm grinding, and part
mm,
of my Monday through Friday, what I just described,
mm,
what led me down this path
mm,
is the inspiration that my parents um, have gave me as a child, watching them work so hard. Um,
mm,
you know, they were both immigrants, and they worked really hard to become United States citizens.
mm. Right.
And yeah, and they worked in the fields their whole lives. And my dad, he has very strong work ethics. He's always taught me, no matter what you do in life, you just make sure you work hard, no
Right.
matter what you do. And my mom has taught me about giving and being loving and caring to others.
Right.
So those two have inspired me to help others and also be in the field of wanting others to get better and wanting to do a change for this world and humanity.
Right. Mm. That's awesome. So that
Yeah.
is why you kind of like started the thing of like joining the clinic to help others as well, yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's my passion.
Mm,
I want to be able to make a difference in this world.
mm.
Yes, that's for sure.
By helping others, yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, so I like to jump into your timeline of like way back when you're like super young and till the today you, because I believe that everyone is a byproduct of the circumstances, the things that happen to them that make the person that they are today. So I like to run through your timeline way back as far as you can remember, from the day from your super young until now that you have the things that actually happen to you, and what do you learn from it. And what I like to lean towards is to things that you kind of like get into or something like a trouble or something, and then you, what was your thought process like, and then leading you into the thoughts, and then you figuring out something, and then how you grow from there. Yeah, walk me through your journey since the super young period. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll be here all year, but
Mm-hmm.
I'll walk you through maybe like a couple hardships, right? Because
Yeah.
I got quite a few. We'll be here a long time, but growing up, I grew up in a family of 10,
Mm.
and mom and dad married, and
Mm.
I grew up in a Hispanic household.
Right.
Um, it was very traditional.
Mm-hmm.
So, women stayed home. Usually men worked, but with my parents, they both worked.
Right.
And yeah, so, I didn't grow up with much. We grew up with the basic needs, food, shelter, and we didn't really have much of anything else besides the basic needs. I
Right.
remember as a child, even even like when we would go to the stores and we would go grocery shopping, or we would go to, like, let's say Walmart, and I would see Barbies and I would see dolls, and I would look at them, and I wouldn't even ask for one, because I
Right.
knew at a very young age that my parents could not afford to buy me a doll.
Right.
And I knew not to even ask for it, because at that very young age, let's say maybe 6 years old, maybe 7,
Right.
I already knew that if I asked for it,
Mm.
they were gonna have to some way tell me no, and that was gonna hurt their feelings and
Right.
even more hurt my feelings. At that young age, I already knew that.
That's so thoughtful. Yeah.
Yeah, so I knew not to ask for that. I knew not to ask for anything. We grew up with with making it through life. So, it's
Mm.
so yeah, at that young age, I already knew that. Even when we would go to stores, and we would go to the handy markets, because I grew up in a little small town, population 2,000. And even in that small little town, everybody knows everybody. And when we
Right.
would go to the handy markets, I wouldn't even ask for a bag of chips.
Right.
All the kids were in there buying a bag of chips, buying candy,
Mm.
and I wouldn't even ask for that, because I knew we were in the basic necessities.
Right.
And if I was to get a bag of chips, it would be more of a surprise, but I wouldn't feel comfortable to ask for it.
Right. Mm.
Yeah, which that led me down some struggles as far as to be able to verbalize when I need help, or when I need um assistance with anything,
Mm.
because I grew up not asking for those things, because the answer in my head was already going to be no.
Right.
So I didn't even want to ask for it and end up in disappointment. So that pattern of thinking and behaving carried on with me as a young adult, until I had to kind of find out and figure out and kind of learn who I am, and who I always wanted to be, and what that looks like.
Right. Mm. So I like to jump into like the part where you kind of like say that you were like this young age and you uh understanding that the fact that you won't be able to get the items that you really want to have. Like what was your thought process then that make you that way?
My thought process then was I knew that my parents would work in the fields. They would get up in the morning, like 4 in the morning. They would pack up their lunch.
Mm.
They would go to work and they wouldn't be back till the next day till 5 or 6 o'clock in the evening. And then they would make dinner and get ready for the next day and go to sleep and work
Right.
Monday through Saturday, every single day like that. So watching them work and seeing them not even be able to buy themselves stuff and
Right.
just buy us food, that's how I knew that
Wow.
that they would not be able to afford that.
Right. That was like super
Yeah.
thoughtful of you then, yeah. Mm.
Yeah. I'm the last born, so I saw a lot.
Oh gosh, yeah. So
Yes.
so probably like walk us through like afterwards, yeah. You say that that kind of like mm, personality trait, like you being like saying no to everything, that kind of stuff. Yeah. Walk me through the journey. How they lead you after that. Yeah.
Yeah, so after that, I just, growing up, my dream was to get married and have children and have a family of my own. That was my dream. It was College was in the back burner. It was not something that I felt like I needed to have.
Mm.
It was more like, "Oh, okay, I could go to college for some classes, but I may never amount to anything," type of mentality. I always felt like a failure at life. I always felt like I was too dumb to accomplish anything. And I always felt like I couldn't do it. I always had
Right.
self-doubts and all these things crushing me and it was just my mind. That's how powerful it was, is my mind and my thoughts and my views about myself were holding me down from the potential that I have right now. But back
Right.
then, that's what was really holding me down. So that's part of the thought pattern that I was talking about earlier. It really repressed me and my goal back then was to get married and have children.
Mm.
Well, I did ended up getting married and having children,
Right.
but that marriage ended in a divorce, and
Mm.
that was not part of my plans. Was for it to end in a divorce. So
Right.
when that happened, I felt like my world came crumbling down. I was in a fetal position basically when I realized my marriage was over. And I
Right.
was crying and weeping and that's when I realized that I didn't know who I was.
Right.
I realized that I didn't even know who Lucy was. What is identity? What do I like? Who am I?
Mm.
So I didn't have time to really explore that. So even though that was uh an event in my life that that caused me to feel pain.
Right.
It also caused the most growth out of me. So through trials in life, you can grow the most.
Right.
So that's when I was able to grow the most. That's when I was able to get back off from the ground and kind of rediscover who I was
Right.
and and kind of just work on myself and see, what is it that I like? Start from the ground up. Like, who am I?
Right.
So
Mm.
sometimes it just starts with those questions, asking yourself just simply, who
Mm.
are you? What do you like? What do you like to do? Not what would you like to do, but what do you like to do right now? and then
Mm.
setting up some goals. So
Right. Mm.
that's what I did. I
Oh.
started
Mm.
I started thinking about what would I want to do and what
Mm.
would that look like.
Mm.
Yeah,
So I like to run
so
into this stage of you, like you're pretty much in a very confused stage, yeah. And then I like to understand like how you actually try to navigate your life through uh this confused state, because when people feel very confused, they will not know what to do, that kind of stuff. And then you were like kind of like taking a step back, reassessing the things that you kind of have in your life, and you talk about like you gonna learn from your mistakes, that kind of stuff, and learn through this process. Yeah, walk me through the thought process during that period, how you actually tried to navigate through your life during that period of your life, because I find it that it must being very difficult for one to do that, yeah.
yeah, so to navigate that difficult time in my life when I
Mm.
felt really broken,
Right.
I reached out to God.
Mm.
Um, I reached out to God and I cried and I prayed and I just basically told God, you know, if I'm supposed to be married, why is this happening? Like, I don't understand. Like, what's going on? Like, so I started from a place where I'm like, help me.
Right.
And then the more that I prayed and the more that I talked to God, the more that I felt that I needed to continue to pray to kind of feed my soul, feed what makes me me. And part of what makes me me is my connection with my spirituality and with God. That's what makes me who I am.
Right.
Is that deep need to want to serve others. So I had to get reconnected with that. So I started praying all the time, every day. I
Right.
started being in line with who I am. I think part of
Mm.
that is you have to find out who you are, what makes you you. So part of what makes me me
Mm.
is my connection with God. It's my alignment. My alignment to be good with myself, to be good with humanity is what really makes me happy. Serving others
Right.
actually makes me happy.
Right.
It's not the other way around. It's not for the money. It actually fulfills me. When
Right.
I make someone smile, when I help others, when I do those type of things, they're in line with who I am, and that's when I am the most happiest and the most successful.
That's beautiful. Yeah, you get,
Yeah.
yeah, having this all this humility stuff, yeah, getting the admiration, that kind of a stuff. It's a beautiful thing to have, yeah. Mm.
Yeah, it sure is. So I think, that may look a little bit different for everybody.
Mm.
I think digging deep, but for me it was that it was to get reconnected with God and to kind of get back that full-blown relationship that I had with God and kind of not so much me try to figure it out, but more ask God, well, what do you want from me? What is your will for me? God, let your will be my will. Whatever your will is, that's my will, and let that be it. So kind of giving it up to God and letting Him figure it out for me instead of me thinking that I need to figure everything out myself. However,
Mm.
with that being said,
Right.
I still got to do the legwork. I still got to work hard. I
Right.
still got to train. So everything else that I can't control, that I give it up to God. I give that to God. All my worries, my anxieties, here you go. You could have them, God. But everything else, like the studying, the working out, the eating clean, how Gary Vee would say it, the grind.
Right.
That's all me. Because in any relationship, it takes two, right?
Right.
So you got to put in your work. You just can't just expect someone to do everything for you, just like you just can't, pray and then just expect, you got to pray and you got to put in your work too.
Mm.
So that's what I did in that process. I prayed and I worked hard. No matter what, even when I didn't feel like I had a direction, I worked. I helped others. I kept busy.
Right.
And as my connection with God grew,
Mm.
I in paying attention to the little signs that he was telling me, that's when I knew more and more what I needed to do.
Mm. Right. So you talking about like your connection with God. Can we dive deep towards that topic? Because I'm quite like uh unknown towards like this type of a thing that which you talk about, like you keeping yourself aligned with God. That sounds like super interesting to me, and I like to dive deep. Like what is that whole thing about? Yeah.
Being a Christian?
Yeah. So the question is like how what can you talk to me about the world that you are in, which is you having this connection with God, that you keeping yourself aligned with God, getting more aligned with God. Yeah. So can you walk us through like what is the whole thing about that about? Yeah, because I am quite an unknown towards this world of like you having this like connection with God, keeping yourself aligned, that kind of a stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm a Christian,
Mm.
Catholic,
Mm.
and I believe that, God created the world and everything in it,
Mm.
and I believe in the Bible. Like, it's if you open up the Bible, like you will read it's everything in there, like situations of how we should treat humanity. And if we could
Right.
just give back to that, and if we would all treat everybody with dignity and care and love, this whole world would be a better place.
Right.
And um, so yeah, so that's part of that is having that connection and kind of, going back to the basics like the Ten Commandments. I'm pretty sure you have heard the Ten Commandments.
Mm.
Thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not lie, that, you know,
Right.
or no. Have you heard
No.
them?
No. But it's okay.
Oh,
You can
okay.
go on. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So, um, that's part of who I am.
Mm.
I'm a Christian,
Right.
and with that, with my walk with being a Christian is realizing that I'm not perfect, realizing that I am human, and part of being human is living on this earth and being able to walk and serve others, but also being able to give myself the break that I need, as far as not being so hard on myself, because
Mm.
this place that on earth is hard. It's hard to live here because we all have struggles, we all have trials, and we all have ambition, and
Right.
we all have frustrations and all these things. So it's good to kind of be able to help one another through these tough times.
Right. 100%. So I there's some topics that you actually jump into like that is super interesting to me, which is like you not like over judging yourself, not you not being way too hard on yourself, because how I see in the world right now is that people are very hard onto themselves, and that they do not know how to like cancel out those noises, because I for myself is like it feels like many times my inner voices, it always like I'm currently like still in the process of being super thoughtful about where does my inner voice comes from. And what I realized was that it's like an inbuilt voice that came from the society, came from other people
Hmm.
that saying that you're not great, you're not worthy, you're not that, you're not this. Yeah, that kind of a stuff. So what do you think about like this whole thing about people having this negative self-talk? Yeah, and how you actually like kind of like process it through? Yeah.
Oh wow, yeah, the negative self-talk,
Mm.
and doubt. Okay, yeah, that is a beast.
Mm.
Um, that is a beast. The mind itself, that, you know, I don't know if you've ever heard mind over body or body over mind. I don't know if you ever heard that.
Yeah, I heard
What do
that.
you
Yeah.
think is stronger, the mind or the body? I'm 100% all towards mind. And if you have your mind constantly in a place where it's, just being fueled by negativity and you're never really gonna get to where you need to get to.
Right.
So, and everybody has power over what their thoughts can consist of through basic training techniques, some people could do or like cognitive behavior therapy. You can look some up online, literally Google cognitive behavior therapy and just kind of work through those negative thoughts, schemas, and kind of replace them with positive talk, positive self-talk, and kind of stopping that at the track, meaning like as soon as you get a negative thought,
Right.
you stop it and then you replace it. And it's a
Mm.
lot of work, but it works. It really does.
Mm.
It really does.
Right.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's super awesome. So it almost feels like you're very big on to like self-awareness after the things that actually happen to you. And I believe that the world is like going like in a very fast paced kind of a thing, and that people don't usually take a step back to reassess themselves, to think about the things that they actually truly want to do. And I feel like many people are like just stuck into the 9 to 5 job that they don't really want to do, whereby they are just following with the flow with it, and they are not like taking a step back to assess themselves, that who they truly are, and that kind of a
Hmm.
stuff. So what do you think about this whole topic about being self-aware of who you are, what is your passion, and that who are they? Yeah.
I mean, I feel like that's a must. Like that's a
Mm.
must. Every single person on this earth has a gift. We all have gifts.
Mm.
God gives us gifts. We all have natural talents. We all have gifts. So, part of discovering that gift is we need to be self-aware of who we are. Like and that's what kind of I was talking about earlier, is
Mm.
I had to kind kind of um find out who I was in this world and what did I like. So part of that is being aligned with who you are. What makes you you? What makes you happy? What makes you tick? Once
Mm.
you could find out what makes you happy and what makes you tick, and you do more of that
Mm.
and study yourself, you will be able to grow so much. I'm 100% all about self-awareness. I've been studying myself. I've been finding out, what are my triggers? What are my likes? What are my dislikes? And also learning. I make that a constant mission to learn anything, constantly exercising my brain, being aware of the things around me, researching what actually helps people be the most successful that they can be. And success does not mean what most people in society think, which is just money. No, success to me means achieving true happiness. And how do you do that? So
Mm.
that could be uniquely tailored to each individual. So,
Right.
yeah, self-aware is 100% what I do on a daily basis. I constantly focus on who I am, and I reflect on my past behaviors for that day, and then I reflect on things that went well, things that didn't go well, and then I game plan. Okay, how is it going to look like tomorrow? What am I going to do differently? I don't ever sit and dwell.
Mm.
I more use it to learn and grow, to add to my self-awareness. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah, that makes total sense to
Yeah.
me. Yeah, right. So yeah, then that's where I want to jump into right now, which is like fast forward to your current place that you are in right now, is there any like because we've been talking about like self-awareness, uh being authentic, being real, being like super thoughtful about the things that we actually are, who we actually are. So is there any sort of like areas that you're uh learning about, because you are talking about like you are still learning about like self-awareness, this kind of a stuff. So is there any areas that you are like currently learning right now that is very hot in your mind? Yeah.
Well, self-awareness to me, it's a lifelong process.
Mm,
It to me, it's you're never gonna fully master who you are because every single day that goes on, you're learning and you're growing. So it's just something, it's like exercise.
correct.
Just because you build enough muscle, that doesn't mean you're gonna stop. That means you gotta keep on going to maintain the progress and to continue seeing the benefits, and that you want to see. So to me, self-awareness is not just the beginning. It's more of the beginning to maybe continue on the journey, to be able to be the best you. I would say that.
Mm. Awesome, awesome. So I believe that meditation is like a big part of your life, yeah. So what is the reason behind doing those meditation, and what got you started? Yeah.
So the reason why I got started with meditation is
Mm,
because I was looking up and doing research on, what makes people successful
mm,
and what helps them with their self-awareness and their mindset and their growth within themselves. And a lot of the common themes and a lot of the common things that people would do would be meditation.
right.
So I'm like, okay, I'm very open to trying things that will help me grow. So if meditation's going to help me grow, that's what I'm going to do because I'm all about growing. I'm all about, being able to fully comprehend who I am because if I'm able to do that, then I'm able to help more other people. So I started meditating. I
Mm,
meditate in the mornings and I meditate at night. And it's actually been proven to enhance um, your memory. So, part of the mind again, got to exercise that, be more self aware. So, meditation helps a lot.
mm. Awesome, awesome. So Lucy, so yeah, so far the conversation has been like we've been like talking about like self-awareness, authenticity, like being knowing yourself, that kind of a stuff. Like it almost feels like you're like a super thoughtful kind of a person. So I like to jump into what do you think is the like ingredients that is needed for one to actually have this, being very super thoughtful about like yourself, being able to like understand the importance of reassessing yourself. I believe it's like the circumstances that you actually face, the setbacks that you actually face. So run me through like what is it all about? Is it your setbacks that makes you the person that make you so thoughtful about the things is actually happening to you, that kind of stuff? Yeah. Walk me through the thought process like for all this stuff. Yeah.
What makes me thoughtful?
Mm.
I think I can't pinpoint it just to one thing.
Yeah.
I would have to say, it's a mix of
Mm.
everything. It's a mix of my experiences. It's a mix of, my genes too.
Mm.
It's a mix of my environment. It's a mix of my relationships. It's a mix of everything,
Right.
because two people can be raised in the same environment, in the same household,
Right.
and have, similar experiences, but yet be totally different. One person could be thoughtful and the other one may not.
Right.
Um, so with that, it's about perception,
Mm. Mm,
how do you perceive the world around you?
a hundred
And
percent.
and yeah, and what is your intentions with it? What would you like to happen? Where is your heart at? Like where is it? And that's what I mean with alignment is if you are doing what you love and what makes you happy, then that's when you're going to see that. So what makes me happy is to see other people happy.
Right.
That fills up me. So part of it could be my experiences and the way I perceive things. Um, and then the other part could be my natural gift, kind of what I was telling you earlier about that we all have gifts and kind of discovering what that talent is and what that gift
Right.
is you can do that through self-awareness. And if you do that, then that's when you're going to be the most happiest. And to me, that means being successful.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm. So we're being so hot onto like self-awareness. So what do you think that you got to if you got to try to like convince someone to like jump into self-awareness, like what is the biggest thing that you can tell to the person to make them jump into this self-awareness thing? Probably the importance of self-awareness, that kind of a stuff. Yeah.
What would be the reason why I tell them that they should be self-aware of who they are
Mm, yeah.
so they could be happy, so they could be
Mm,
fulfilled, so they could be doing what they love because a lot of people are not doing what they love and
right.
they think they're doing what they love because they think they love money or they think they love things or they think they love things that don't really fulfill them. So part of the importance of being self-aware is how much do you value your happiness? How much how bad do you want to feel? I'm not going to say complete, but how
Right.
bad do you want to feel content?
Mm, right.
Not a lot of people feel that way. So I think striving towards being self-aware is going towards the direction of feeling that you're becoming content and you're able to kind of be in a state of mind where you're able to grow the most and that's when you're able to succeed the most.
Right. Mm. So one area that I like to jump into is I believe that you watch like Gary Vee. Do you watch the part where he like talks about like people buying dumb shit? Like, do you watch any those type of videos where he talk about buying dumb shits?
Which part, the one that he flips the stuff or just that people throw away their money?
People just buying like $7 Starbucks coffee, that kind of a stuff.
Oh yeah, when they can't afford it.
Yeah, 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 and to buy things that are to flex in front of others, to do fronting, to make
Yeah,
pretend that they are happy in front of other people. So I like to jump into yours because you talk about like you living in this childhood of yours, being super thoughtful about the expenses, like you not getting the candies that others people are getting, buying the toys that people are getting. So I like to jump into your current stage, like how do you actually manage your expenses and the things that you actually buy, that kind of stuff. That is there any like you being super thoughtful of the things that you actually buy? Yeah, walk me through how is it like for you right now?
I see. I've been in school for the past 5 years. So
Mm,
I work too. So I have not really had time to do, well, like a lot of spending, but even then, I don't buy things that I don't really need. I don't,
mm,
I do buy things that every once in a while that I would say, that are fun. But unnecessary expenses like let's say like a Starbucks coffee every day or
Right.
no, I don't do that.
Mm, right.
But but part of that is because I also like to eat healthy
Oh,
and eat healthy food. So I like to make my own food and I like to pack my own food because then I know that there's no preservatives. When I have the time to do that.
right.
Um, so that's part of the body. That's part of being healthy. So part of that helps the mind too. So if you get
Right.
your body right, your mind could be right. But if you don't eat right and you're eating, let's say, junk food or drinks that are full of sugar all the time,
Right.
every once in a while is fine, like once a week or something. I will give myself a treat. Like I'll get myself like a soda or
Mm,
once a week or something like that. But I don't make that a habitual habit, no. Because I got to take care of my body too. Because what I put in my mouth, that also supplies my brain
right.
and I need my brain. I need to have a healthy brain. So, the whole mind and body, they're all connected. So, you have to have a healthy body to have a healthy mind.
Right.
So, yeah.
Mm,
So, yeah, I don't really spend unnecessary stuff.
that
I do buy
that's great.
little things here and there, so
Mm,
but not really.
mm. So you're just basically buying things that is like necessary to you, and you're not like buying you're thinking that you're not buying things to actually like front in front of other people to like flex in front of people. Yeah.
Oh, no. No, no. I
Mm,
don't I just do things for me. What makes me happy? Like, what do I like? What I don't buy things just to make, just to show anything because I'm not trying to, impress other people. That's not my goal. That's not my mission.
that's great.
Um, yeah, that's the least of my worries.
Mm.
Yeah.
Awesome. So you've been very hot onto all this like self-awareness kind of a thing, but and then you actually talk about like you having this goal of like really wanting to help other people. So are you thinking at the current moment like are you thinking of like starting on the side to probably start to like do more to actually try to achieve your goal? Is there any sort of a thing that you're trying to start up of that you're thinking of?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm.
Well, I feel the passion to do so.
Mm.
I feel the passion to do so. I feel it in my heart, you know?
Right.
Um, so, when you reached out to me, I was like, you know what, let's do it. Let's do
Right.
it because I actually I feel it in my heart. And if anybody ever says like, "Oh, can you do this or can you do that?" And then if I could do it, I will do it. And if I could give any knowledge or if I could help anyone, then I would do it. I think I once watched a motivational video. I don't know who it was by, but
Right.
it said what did it say? Something you learn and you teach or something like that. So
Mm.
yeah, I'm all about that. I'm all about helping each other. So yeah.
Mm. It almost feels like if any opportunities comes to you or anything that you think that is helping of other people, you will try to like accept that and you will try to help that. Yeah.
Yeah, if it's possible, of course. Like, if time allows and then of course I would. I actually thought about um
Mm.
volunteering in schools and kind of helping with the underserved population kind of get motivated and feel like there's hope, like they could do something, like 'cause I was talking about my experiences,
Right.
in my upbringing and not having confidence in myself that I could be who I am today as far as like being more self-aware and having confidence and accomplishing goals, kind of like giving back to community. And I've been thinking about that. I've been thinking about volunteering my time and kind of doing some motivational um, kind of speeches with the youth in local schools. I was thinking about doing that. So I'll be done in May. So with school, so I was thinking about
Right.
doing that. Yeah.
Mm, that's awesome. That's awesome. So I really like that the conversation is going towards like us being super thoughtful about the things that is actually happening to us, the past things that is actually happening to us, that we are like sort of like rediscovering ourselves, being really thoughtful about what is going on, like maybe probably like us like taking a step back to look at the world, look at ourselves. So I really like all these things, and what I like to jump into is your is there any other setbacks that you can think of that actually helps you to grow to become like a bigger person? Yeah, is there any like a big incidents that you actually think that actually makes you take a huge leap of faith towards life? Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Mm.
Yeah, there's several. There's
Mm.
several. But I can't think of any right now. There's so many.
Yeah, probably you can
Yeah.
talk about the most recent one or something. Yeah.
I think the most recent one,
Mm.
I think that was the divorce. That was
Mm.
the most recent setback.
Mm.
Yeah.
Right. I see.
Yeah, so that was the most recent setback. As like with any divorce, it's the top 10 stressors that any human goes through with which is, losing a loved one,
Right.
going through divorce, losing a home, those type of things. Those are the top 10 stressors that actually are considered to be the most stressful things that people go through. So when considering you know what changes people, one has to examine what are those top 10 stressors, and have you experienced those and how has that changed you and so forth. So to me, like experiencing the divorce, that has changed me in a way where I thought that my life was going to be set up. I was going to be married, I was going to have the kids, and I was going to be happy ever after. And that was that. It was within my control. But
Right.
once that came crumbling down, I was no long. I didn't have that anymore. That dream of being married and having the kids and being able to say, "Hey, I've been married for 40 years, 50 years," just like my parents.
Right.
You know, that all of a sudden was destroyed, and that
Mm.
dream was no longer in existence. So I had to find new dreams, and I had to create um, new things that would help me prosper in life.
Right. Mm. So how do you actually like assess yourself from there? Because it's like definitely like a super down position for you to be in. And how do you actually like keep up your mentality that saying that you're fine, that kind of a stuff? Yeah.
Yeah, I pray.
Oh,
I pray every single day. Yeah, I
mm,
pray. I pray all the time. If I have any type of negative talk or any self-talk, I replace it with positive self-talk.
that's awesome.
Um,
Mm,
Constantly. So any negative thought that you have, you just stop it. Basically, you get one negative thought, you don't explore it,
mm,
and then you replace it with something positive.
right,
And the whole world, if you could choose to, if you, because of course we don't know what's going to happen in the future, right?
right,
And if you could choose to think negative or think positive, why not just think positive? Even though it's going to take, a while to replace that those negative thoughts because, those negative thoughts didn't just, you know, come to your brain overnight. So,
Right.
it took years. It took 20, 30, 40 years for you to have that type of negative self-talk. So it's going to take, months of working hard to get a positive self-talk, to get a positive self-image, to get a positive perception, a positive outlook in life, and have healthy emotional responses to things. It's going to take a long time. So to say that a couple positive things are going to change the way one thinks for the rest of their life is um is not accurate. So it took a couple decades to think negative, so it's going to take, a few months to start seeing the benefits of thinking positive.
Right.
And
Mm.
it's not going to be easy. It's going to feel including myself and other people,
Right.
when they start the process of replacing those negative thoughts, they're going to feel like they're being fake. They're going to feel like they're not being honest with themselves, and they're going to find it easy to quit.
Right.
But but the results and the benefits come in months.
Mm.
It's not gonna be easy in a couple days. It's gonna be months.
Right.
Yeah,
It requires a lot of patience, yeah, to actually achieve the thing that to get into the positive mindset, yeah.
perseverance.
Mm.
Yeah, you got to keep on pushing. You got to keep on working hard.
Mm.
Your mind is a muscle, so you got to build on it. You
Yeah.
got to build it. You got to build it, and it's not gonna be easy. So with any muscles, you got to replenish it. How are you gonna feed it? You
Mm.
got to think of your body as a temple, right? You got to think of your body. Okay, if your body is your car, what are you going to do? You're going to change its fuel, right? You're going to clean it, right? You're going to make sure that it's organized. You're going to make sure that it's presentable and it has everything that it needs to have, right? Like just let's say that your car breaks down. You want to make sure that you have a couple cables in the back of your car. So the same thing goes with your body, in
Mm.
your mind. What are you gonna do to make sure that you're equipped?
Mm.
So yeah, that plays into it as well.
Yeah. I really like that you use the analogy of like treating it as like a muscle, yeah. Because I think it's really like you got to train the mind to become like strong and to become like positive, yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, before I end off like this podcast, I usually like to ask my guests like one last hot take, one last thing that is in their mind that they are like thinking about. And I don't want it to be like as of a thing that you want to share with other people, but I just want it to be a very selfish moment for yourself that is like thinking that you are thinking right now. Can be a very micro event or a very macro thing that you are thinking about, yeah.
What am I thinking about right now?
The things that is being very hot uh that recently that you are thinking about, yeah, that you kind of
Like
want
a
to
hot
do,
topic?
yeah,
Or what I want to do?
yeah, anything, yeah, a topic that you're thinking of, or something that you really want to do, or something that you really love to do, that kind of stuff, yeah.
Hmm. I think I what I really want to do is probably reach out and volunteer my time
Mm.
to the schools and kind of do like a motivational speech with the youth that are underserved. Yeah,
Mm. That's awesome.
yeah, to give them some hope that they could do it.
Awesome, awesome. So, before we end off this podcast, is there any like last shout outs that you wanna do? Like, do you want to do any shout outs to your own channel or anything?
No, just thank you for having me.
Oh, awesome. Thank you so much, Lucy, for joining me here, and I'm super grateful for you to be here because I truly believe that this deep and meaningful conversation will help each of us to grow. Yeah, I hope this conversation actually helps you to rediscover yourself and help you all of us grow, and letting our listeners to hear and grow together. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Mm,
awesome.
that's awesome. So thank you, Lucy, once again. Yeah, and thank you
All right,
guys.
thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys for listening, and hope you guys had a great listen.
Bye bye.